What is going on, everybody? Ben here, pleased to be with you, and today we are going to be playing some MTG Arena. I have updated the Sultai control deck that I have been playing for some time with some new Adventures in the Forgotten Realm cards, and just kind of given it a facelift all around, improved the mana base, and just made some changes that we're going to go over really quickly as standard has cycled out since the last time that we did make a video with a deck similar to this. So of course we are still running Yorion as our companion. We do have a single Disdainful Stroke, which can be very strong to counter a powerful spell or anything that costs 4 or greater. 3 Jwari Disruptions, a single negate, again, any non-creature spell. 1 hard piece of counter magic there can be just what the doctor ordered in the right situation. 4 Omen of the Sea serves as our main source of card draw. 4 Heartless Axe, still, I believe, the best single target removal spell in Standard right now, followed closely by Power Word Kill, where we have a pair of those. A single Valky, God of Lies, or of course Tybalt, Cosmic Imposter. For Wolfwillow Haven, a very underrated key part of our ramp in the deck. Definitely always want to see that on turn 2 if possible. We've cut to a single copy of Maze Mind Tome. I really like this card. It kind of breaks my heart to get rid of it, so we're down to just 1 copy there. Speaking of which, we have Midnight Clock. Doesn't happen very often, but there are mill decks in Standard right now, and this remains kind of a silver bullet piece of tech against them. And if you do draw this card and you're able to get it to those 12 counters, it goes off and you shuffle your graveyard back into your library. They're just busted. You do have a little bit of a hedge against those decks anyway, as you have 80 cards in your library to begin with. 4 Cultivates, absolutely, second second to none really, but right there with Wolfwillow Haven as cards that we want to see early in our hand. Definitely want to cast this on turn 3 if possible. A single copy of Extinction Event, very powerful card, serves to as be an answer for any creature on the board, often many creatures as a non-targeted source of removal, so very strong. Love Binding the Old Gods. Wish we could play more than 4 of them. Destroys any non-land permanent an opponent controls and goes ahead and ramps for you. Very good. Gets a forest card, so it gets your triomes as well. We have 2 copies of Polychronos Unchained. Very strong card, and is very good against those mill decks as well. Anything with a bunch of little creatures, he can pick them off, and if they're filling your graveyard up, you can bring them back, and he's just a nightmare for them. I do run Solemn Simulacrum, and most people that run Sultai Control, most lists that I see do not include Solemn Simulacrum. We do have 2 copies of Solemn Simulacrum. Combos very well with Yorion to search out additional copies of land pulled from your deck, and then of course when it dies you draw a card, so this also serves as a little bit of additional card draw, just card advantage in general. Solemn Simulacrum is very strong. Shadow's Verdict can be a very powerful card that we can serve up with our Emergent Ultimatum, or if we're lucky enough to draw the single copy, of course we can just cast it, but obviously can be a game breaker, can remove an entire army, one side of the board for our opponent, and obviously messes with the graveyard as well. But a very powerful card there in Shadow's Verdict. We still have Turgrid's Lantern as well as Turgrid God of Fright as an alternate win condition. This is probably a card that would be on the edge of getting cut, but there are still situations, particularly against a control matchup or a mirror, just anything that's going to turn into a really long game. Landing a card like this can make a large difference as kind of an alternate win condition. We have 2 copies of Elder Gargaroth, very strong, very powerful, even at the 5 mana cost. Probably one of the most underrated cards in Standard. Elder Gargaroth is very powerful. Single copy of Shark Typhoon, again, something that can just kind of take over the game. For a long time, I was running more than 1 copy of this card. We just kind of have it as something that we can go get with Emergent Ultimatum, but it can be very strong. It is not to be underestimated. Single copy of Vorinclex. This is basically just here for our Valky. to come out as Tybalt and with double the counters, so we can have that very powerful wombo combo right there. 2 copies of Alrund's Epiphany. Absolutely love this card. Wish we could run 4 of them. The deck list is just too tight. Hero Best the Sea God is one of our primary threats. And we have Seagate Restoration, which can be situationally very, very good, allowing you to draw a ton of cards. 4 copies of Emergent Ultimatum. Again, that is our key combo card in the deck. We want to draw this and basically present our opponent with a situation that is just devastating, that they have to choose 2 out of 3 spells that are just going to ruin either their board state or allow us to take an additional turn, give us, very powerful bits of control on the board. Whatever the situation calls for, we have a diverse assortment of silver bullets that we can go get with Emergent Ultimatum, and this is the key card in the deck. Quickly going through the mana, which we've improved our mana base quite a bit since the last time that we did a video about our Sultai control deck. We're down to 10 copies of basic land in the deck, 3 island, 3 swamp, and 4 forest. 2 copies of Clearwater Pathway, so that is the black and blue flip land. 1 Temple of Deceit, 2 Darkboard Pathways or Slitherboard Pathway, that is black and green. 3 copies of Temple of Malady, so that is the Scryland for black and green. Would ultimately probably prefer to have 4 of each of the pathways and probably 4 of the Temple of Malady. Maybe we'll get there someday. We do have 2 of each of the blue-green pathways as well. 2 Temple of Mysteries, the single Ketria Triome, up to 4 of the Zagoth Triomes, and 4 Fabled Passages. So that does round out our 80-card deck. And now we're going to go ahead and just show you a little bit of the gameplay on the ladder right now. I think right now we are in the silver tier. I was just trying to remember. I think maybe we're in silver 3. We're almost through it. We may make it into gold in this video. We'll just have to see how the games go, but I really do enjoy this deck. I hope it goes well. Let's see. Alright, and I like what I see here because we have Omen of the Sea, we have Heartless Act, and we also have a Cultivate. So even though we are playing on the draw, we'll have to see, and that's a mountain, so we're gonna want to get a swamp first, so that we have access to Heartless Act on turn 2. Unfortunately, if they have Robber of the Rich, we're still gonna get hit here. Luckily, they didn't have a first turn play, so yeah, and they do have Robber of the Rich. That's to be expected. We're going to get hit with that one time. Robber of the Rich is the bane of our existence, but we're going to pass it right back to them, see what they want to do beyond that. You wish. Okay, so we're gonna get rid of their Robber of the Rich. Kind of set them back here a little bit, and that's gonna allow us to cast Cultivate. And because we already, we still have a forest in our hand, we're gonna go ahead and get an island and our second swamp. Put the island into play tapped, and we're in pretty good shape right now. In fact, our opponent passes back with nothing on turn 4 there. That's incredible. Alright, so we have 2 Elder Gargaroths in our hand, and I think that is pretty spectacular. That's going to be our play here. See what they want to do about that. Gaining 3 life is going to be devastating for them. The hunt really begins for our Emergent Ultimatum at this point. We do have Temple of Mystery to scry some. Wow, they're gonna go for a 2-for-1. It looks like 3 damage, double fire prophecy. Okay, that's just fine with us, and we are willing to fight this out. For card advantage with this red deck. Yep, we'll just play the other one ultimately. So here goes our Temple of Mystery. And number 6, definitely put that on the bottom. And we'll just play our other Elder Gargaroth. You have 2 more Fire Prophecies for us. Robber of the Rich is just the worst. We're obviously blocking Robber of the Rich here. Very tempting. Yeah, our opponent's just gonna concede. I was gonna say, I wasn't sure if making a creature might have been my ultimate choice there. But drawing a card, very strong, gaining 3 life, very strong. Elder Gargaroth is just good. Doesn't really surprise me at all that they decided to scoop at that point. That was starting to look pretty grim. So we'll go ahead and claim our reward. So let's go ahead and jump right back in for another game. Eternally optimistic. They are Groot. Alright, so this looks like a just fine hand. I think that I actually like starting off playing Seagate Reborn tapped. Don't have to worry about holding it, so it costs 7. It'll work for us right now. Alright, we'll go ahead and play black and have Jawari Disruption to ruin some important spell. Waiting for them to do something worthwhile. They do not. We will again pass it right back to him. Wait for him to do something important. Burn him with Jawari Disruption, and if not, we'll play Omen of the Sea. Make sure that we get our 4th land. And we are not able to burn him with Jawari Disruption. So we'll just let that come into play. We have Shadow's Verdict in our hand, which is terrific. We're going to go ahead and drop Omen of the Sea. Hopefully ensure that we have a land. Keep Midnight Clock in our deck. We'll grab the Swamp. And Fabled Passage is a just fine draw. We'll use that to grab a forest. So a few basic lands in the deck at this point. We can almost see them all when we look. We'll play Binding the Old Gods and take care of that Tiamat. Tiamat. That was legit. Okay, so they sacrificed it to draw cards. Second Hateful Eidolon, no problem. Basically, as soon as they play their Luris, we are going to play Shadow's Verdict and just ruin their day. Alright, we're ramping. They're beating us down slowly. So we have Polykranos. I think that it's Solemn Simulacrum here, because Solemn Simulacrum plays very well with Shadow's Verdict. So does Polychronos, of course. But I just appreciate the ramp. Let's go ahead and grab our third forest. Play our swamp. That's gonna be it for our turn. Again, we're just setting up a gigantic Shadow's Verdict play. Doesn't really matter. Sure. Yep, they use a card for Solemn Simulacrum. Oh wow, that's rough. I didn't realize how bad that was going to be for us, but they're gonna actually replace that as well. We get Shark Typhoon, no problem. Actually going to serve us well to cast Shadow's Verdict sooner than later. Okay, so let's take a look. We have 5, 6, 7 mana right now. Shadow's Verdict plus 2 more. Or we have Polychronos. I think that's what we're going to do, is play Polychronos and have him ready to just activate. Again, another creature that costs 4 that plays very well with Shadow's Verdict. Still waiting with our counter magic. We'll go ahead and yeah, we'll go ahead and pass. We'll keep our Jwari Disruption, the option to potentially counter. Man, they could have burned me waiting for me to fight something, but they chose to draw the card right now. I see. Well, that's rough. Gonna exile him as well. Dang. Okay, well, we're gonna fight one of their creatures first. Really slow him down. And we still have, again, Shadow's Verdict. So let's count again. 5, 6, 7, 8 mana now. Okay, I think it's still Solemn Simulacrum. We still do a big setup turn first. 6, 7, 8. Again, I wish we had 9. Alright. We're going to drop Solemn Simulacrum. And definitely search. Blue's fine. That unfortunately just leaves us with 4. And I believe that we're just going to pass it back. Alright, so they'll likely take out our Solemn Simulacrum. It's kind of funny. Yeah, that's just fine. Again, they'll draw a card from it. Yep. Keep waiting to get value out of this Shadow's Verdict, and they're just whittling us down, which is alright. They're going to have trouble after Shark Typhoon hits the table. See what they try and do here. Again, they are just content to get us for a little bit and a little bit and a little bit. Yep, that's legit. Yep, well, it's definitely Shadow's Verdict next turn. Alright, so 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 mana. Shadow's Verdict. Okay. This will only be 10. Unfortunately, we're always one short of what we'd like to do. We'd like to catch Shark Typhoon first. But we're going to go ahead and search out a land. It's definitely Shadow's Verdict. Swamp this time. Shadow's Verdict to rid everything. Big play. Even though our opponent's all the way up to 27. In fact, they're going to concede, so we did wait to extract maximum value out of that Shadow's Verdict. There were many times we could have played it earlier where it still would have been a powerful play. It still would have burned our opponent for many creatures, but they just weren't putting sufficient pressure onto the board, and it wasn't until they really committed, really added those extra creatures, that it made it worth our time to cast it. We did cast it. We got them for all those creatures, and they were forced to concede. So I am, happier about that second win. I think that we really, kind of demonstrated a unique way to win a game there. But let's go ahead and jump right into another one. See how we can fare. We haven't really had a typical draw with the deck, so I would like to get just a game where we ramp up, are able to cast Emergent Ultimatum, and then, again, put our opponent in a difficult situation and win that way, because that's what the deck is supposed to do. Here we have a Zagoth Triome. We do have a Jawari Disruption, some Omen of the Seas. Power Word, Kill, and Extinction Event really round out the hand well. So we have a variety of disruption, and we are going against a Lurrus. Again, I see that our opponent's name is MTG Arena Player, so that's pretty funny. Star Pupil. Put its counters on target creature you control. Okay, so no problem. And we just drew a Cultivate, so that is terrific. The Omen of the Seas that we have should really allow us to draw a good amount of cards. Hopefully find our Emergent Ultimatum. I really dig this Plains art that we see here. Yep. Just gonna kill that thing, but go ahead. I say that we are going to kill that thing. I mean, 100% we are going to kill that thing. You're going to Power Word kill that thing. To the nth degree. Pass. We'll let them try and play this spell from their hand to put a counter on it and just keep it going, hopefully. But we're going to kill that thing next turn regardless. Hopefully they don't opt to, just put another creature out or anything. Hopefully they cast that spell, that lesson that we can see in their hand right now. Well, that's gonna be good enough. Yeah, let's let them do that. But they don't have the card that makes them hexproof. That would be real rough. Although we do have Extinction Event in a couple turns, it wouldn't necessarily, be game breaking. But this Power Word Kill resolving is going to really set them back if that happens. They just have 1 green mana, and they did have Snakeskin Veil. That's exactly what I was worried about. However, we drew Heartless Act. Which I think we're pretty well forced to use. I guess we have Cultivate. This thing dies. Okay, so we're gonna use Cultivate right. We're gonna cast Cultivate right now, and we're gonna plan on Extinction Event next turn. So here's us taking our chance. We're ramping up. And let's see, I believe that I would like to see a second or a swamp for sure, and probably, I guess, an island we have. We have lots of blue spells in our hand, so we've got the mana for Extinction Event next turn. Look at him just running with 2 mana up to this point. Okay, so Extinction Event's going to be real strong. We are down to 10. Alright, so we'll Extinction Event for odd. There they go. That does clear the board. We have 5 mana down. Again, be perfect time for us to draw our Emergent Ultimatum. We have ramp just a little bit with Cultivate. We have our 2 Omen of the Sea. Been all that we can do to just defend ourselves to this point. We have been beaten down to 10 life, despite the fact that our opponent only has 3 mana. Perhaps we'll see Lurrus sometime soon. That tends to happen when they've burned through most of the creatures in their hand, and then they turn to Lurrus to cast those creatures again out of the graveyard. But let's see which direction our opponent chooses to go, and it's Stonecoil Serpent. Alright, so we can Heartless Act that Stonecoil Serpent, no problem. Let's get a green down. Speaking of which, we'll use that green to cast Mazemind Tome. And it's Heartless Act right now. Alright, so 1, 2, 3. Not going to allow them to Snakeskin Veil us again. And we'll pass the turn knowing that we can either use Mazemind Tome, counter something with Jwari Disruption, or use Omen of the Sea. So we have our 2 mana available. Use it any way we want. 4 mana. Yep, they get Lurrus into their hand. We'll go ahead and just draw a card with Mazemind Tome. Six mana available right now. Good time to... Actually, we really prefer to play our 7th mana as green, so we'll do that. And just gonna pass this time. We'd actually like to have a bunch of mana to play Omen of the Sea a couple of times, draw with our Mazemind Tome, etc., etc. Alright, so we're going to respond with Omen of the Sea. See what we can come up with. That's kind of what I was talking about. Emergent Ultimatum right there. So Lurrus is going to hit. We're going to wait beyond that. For some reason I've never really considered Stonecoil Serpent with Lurrus. That's very strong. Jwari Disruption. Probably the play there. Yeah, we'll go ahead and do it. That's why we run it. We'll have Emergent Ultimatum next turn. But we'll draw a card for now. There's our buddy Shark Typhoon. And here's Emergent Ultimatum. This is more along the lines of what the deck typically does. So Alrund's Epiphany. Shadow's Verdict is just fine, even though it's really just for Lurrus. And we'll go with Kiora Best, the Sea God. So absolutely a disaster for our opponent's strategy. We'll see if they decide to continue to play beyond this, but they either have to give us an extra turn. Okay, so they opt to keep their Lurrus. We get to take an extra turn and drop Kiora. This is the end of the game, whether they know it or not. This is kind of the more typical game that we hope for. And let's drop our Jwari Disruption. Yeah, and our opponent, thinking about it just a little bit further, is just going to concede. So glorious victory. We are able to pull out a win with, you know, a little bit more of a typical draw. So I hope that you guys enjoyed watching me play the Sultai control deck. Once again, updated just a little bit here for some of those Adventures in the Forgotten Realms cards, and, you know, the new metagame as well. Let's go ahead and cap the video off and crack a pack. Looks like we just have one. Hopefully we can get something good. Once again, I hope that you guys enjoyed watching those games. Hope that you enjoyed the video. Here we are. Looks like our rare Loyal Warhound. It's fun that they're using. We got doggos. We got doggo decks. Some actually really nice art there from Dimitri Burmak. 3-1 for 2 with Vigilance. Good already when it enters the battlefield. If an opponent controls more lands than you, search your library for a basic plains card, put it onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. A lot going on there, but very, very nice. I'm a fan. I dig it. It's all good. So, alright, once again, my name is Ben. Thank you all for watching so much. Do please like this video, comment, let me know what kind of videos you guys want to see next, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Once again, thank you all for watching. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time, friends.